Hi kids! Have you ever been on a scavenger hunt? Well, that's what we're going to do here. Will you join us? We'll have lots of fun. Now, this is a different kind of scavenger hunt. You won't be coming to our demonstration garden for the hunt. Instead, we're going to show you 12 pictures about the fall or autumn season. And over the next few days or weeks, you'll go outside and look all around for what you see in the pictures. For example, we have a picture of a squirrel. If you see a real live squirrel outside, you get a point. Looking at a picture of a squirrel doesn't count though. Some things will be easy to find. Some may take a little more time. So, let's get started.
When the shorter days and cooler temperatures of autumn arrive, trees get ready for winter. The green color of their leaves gives way to red or yellow or orange or purple, and the leaves fall to the ground. Can you find some colored leaves? If you collect some leaves, you can put them between the pages of a newspaper and place some heavy books on top. This will press them, and in a week you'll have some preserved leaves for an autumn leaf collection. And isn't it fun to rake up a pile of leaves and then jump into it? Think about the crunchy sound that makes. If you find some colored leaves, you get a point. But if you make a collection or help rake up leaves, then you get another point. In the fall, pumpkins are everywhere in so many ways. You've found pumpkins if you see them in a farm field, if you see them in the grocery store or at a farm stand, or if you see, or better yet, make a jack-o'-lantern. You get a point for any of those. Also, you get another point if you eat a slice of pumpkin pie or drink something flavored as pumpkin spice. These are butternut squash, a kind of winter squash. They aren't called winter squash because they grow in the winter. They're called winter squash because they have such a tough outside that you can keep them for months, even throughout the winter, until you want to eat them. You've found winter squash if you've got it in your garden, if you've ever seen it in the grocery store or at a farm stand. And you get an extra point if you've ever eaten winter squash. There are spring flowers and summer flowers, and there are fall flowers too, flowers that bloom in the autumn. Some of them are wild flowers like goldenrod, yellow tickseed, and wild asters. And some of them are garden flowers, especially mums. That's short for chrysanthemums. Can you say chrysanthemum? Well, that's why people just call them mums. And they're for sale at farm stands and garden centers. You might see a field of them. And you're sure to see them in front yards or even in pots on the steps of front porches. Have you seen any mums? What is that squirrel doing? She's collecting acorns. Squirrels are busy this time of year. They're hiding food so they can eat it later during the winter. Acorns are the seeds of oak trees, and they're good food for squirrels. A squirrel will bury an acorn and dig it up later in the winter when food is scarce. But what happens if the squirrel forgets where the acorn is buried? In the spring, that acorn may sprout and grow into an oak tree. Can you find an acorn? Have you seen a squirrel? Then you get a point for either one. Pine cones carry the seeds of pine trees. But when you find a pine cone on the ground, the seeds are probably already gone. Maybe a squirrel has eaten them. You'll also find lots of pine needles under a pine tree. Pine needles that are 2 or 3 years old will fall off the tree in the autumn, but the new needles will stay on all winter, so there will always be green needles on a pine tree. That's why we call it an evergreen. There are many pine forests in Delaware. Can you find a pine cone under a pine tree? Did you know that the American holly is the Delaware state tree? Its shiny green leaves have sharp points on them. That's to discourage deer from eating them. And did you know that there are boy holly trees and girl holly trees? And only the girl trees have berries. Holly berries turn red in the late fall and winter, and birds like to eat them. Have you seen a holly tree with berries? All summer long there are big green cornfields in Sussex County, Delaware. Wherever you drive, there are fields of corn, and soybeans too. While we all love corn on the cob, most of the cornfields you see are the kind of corn used to make chicken feed. By autumn, the corn is being harvested and the fields look empty. Now and then you might see a flock of geese in a harvested cornfield. They're hoping to find a little bit of corn that the corn picking machine has missed. Have you seen a harvested cornfield? In the fall, some birds fly great distances to warmer places where they can find food they need. This is called migration. You won't see any hummingbirds in the winter. They've all gone south to a warmer place where there are still flowers blooming. But Canada geese and snow geese are arriving because they've spent the summer in Canada and Alaska, and they'll spend the winter here where there's lots of food in the fields and wetlands. You might see flocks of them in farm fields, you might see flocks of them flying over, and you might hear them. Give yourself a point if you've seen or heard geese. During the late summer, there are all kinds of insect sounds. Cicadas, tree crickets, katydids, all in the trees. But when it gets a lot cooler, it's the field cricket you may hear. Sometimes a cricket will get inside your house where it's warmer. Some people are bothered by their chirping inside, but I like them. Have you seen or heard a cricket? The woolly bear is a caterpillar that can actually survive the winter if it finds some shelter from the cold. So if you find a woolly bear, leave it where it is. Woolly bears are colored with black and brown bristles or hair, and folklore says that the amount of brown hair predicts how long the winter will be. That's not really true, but it's fun anyway. Here's my prediction. A lucky woolly bear will survive the winter and eventually become an Isabella tiger moth. Have you seen a woolly bear? When it starts to get cold in the fall, gardeners wonder about the first frost because that may kill their summer plants. If you get up early on a cold morning, you might see frost on blades of grass or leaves on the ground. Frost is tiny ice crystals. Touch them and you'll see how cold they are. When you see frost, you know that the fall season has arrived and even winter is coming, and you get a point.
So that's it. 12 pictures of things you might see about the fall season. 12 discoveries for you. Work on your scavenger hunt every day and see how many points you can get. Go outside, and to make it more fun, take mom, dad, sisters, brothers, or friends and have fun with them too. It's easy, it's fun, it's interesting. Keep your eyes and ears open. Look up, look down. You never know what you might find. You may discover a new and different world full of life, perhaps in a tree, on the ground, or in the sky. I'll be looking for you outside. Bye.